Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we're looking at a relatively new release by ALAKAZAM Magic and Craig Petty, and that is Petty Cash, an interesting style banknight routine that plays pretty strong and pretty clean, and one that I think is going to appease to a lot of people. So let's learn more about it right after the intro. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Petty Cash. So what is Petty Cash? It's essentially a banknight style routine or an influence routine that, depending on your performance style and the way you want to spin it, in which you predict the choice of the spectator from the start, which means that he will not win a set amount of money. So the best way for me to present this to you is to do it to you. Now, of course, I don't have a spectator, so the choices I'm going to make are going to be random, but trust me, no matter the choice, it would be the same outcome. So you would essentially introduce from your pocket, you would pull out a few envelopes and you tell your spectators that you want to play a game with them. And the way that this game is played is very simple, is that in each of the envelopes, you have different contents, and they're going to have a chance to win one of the contents in the envelope if you are unable to predict with clear and precise instructions that you are able to know what they were going to choose beforehand. And you're going to tell them in order to do that, you're going to influence them in different ways. The first way you're going to influence them is with the color of the envelopes, because the color of the envelopes influence people's decisions. For example, blue for a lot of people is calmness. That's why it's in a lot of maternity wards. It's calm. But for other people, it represents the beach, water. It represents different things. Same for green. For some people, green represents money, represents greed. But for some others, it represents nature, hiking, going on walks, going with your dog in a park, right? Different things that can influence you. But that's not it. Inside of every single one of these envelopes, there's a few different things. There's a poker chip with a set amount of money that represents the amount of cash inside of each envelope. So for example, here is 5, and inside the envelope, there is a 5. Same goes with here. You have a 20, and inside of this envelope is, of course, a $20 bill. And inside of the last envelope, the same thing. You have a 10, and inside of this envelope, there is a $10 bill. So this is how the game works. In a moment, one of your spectators is going to pick up one of the chips and place it on one of the envelopes. They're allowed to choose any one that they want, any chip on any envelope of any denomination, but they will have the opportunity to change as long as they don't commit. So as long as they don't fully drop it, they're able to change. So for example, if they want to go here and then they want to change their mind at the last second, they're allowed to. But once they drop the chip, they are committed to their choice. So let's go with it. So the spectator would have a free choice of doing whatever they want. Let's say they go and they do something like this, right? Let's say they do that. So you say the 10, you chose the 10 chip. Well, that's very unfortunate because, well, I knew that you were going to pick the 10 chip, which means that you will not win the $10. I'm sorry for that. Really, I am. I really wanted to give you those $10. I really wanted you to win. But unfortunately, you didn't, because I knew you were going to pick the 10 chip from the start. You know, I told you that I'm going to prove it to you beyond the shadow of a doubt. So here it is. On the 10 chip, I have the 5 and the 20 crossed out and the 10 highlighted in green to show that you are going to choose the 10. Now, I know the way that you're looking at me, you'll be like, okay, but I bet you on the 5, it's the 10 and the 20 that's crossed out and the 5 in green. And on the 20, it's the 5 and the 10 crossed out with the 20 in green. But I told you from the start, I knew what you would pick and I knew you would choose the 10. And I was going to prove it to you beyond the shadow of the doubt. Because even if you chose the 5 or the 20, it wouldn't have worked. Because on the 5 chip is the same thing. The 5 and the 20 are crossed out and the 10 is highlighted in green. And the same thing on the 20 chip, which means that no matter what you would have done, if you hadn't chosen the 10, you would have won the money. But it is what it is. Thank you so much for playing. You are a great sport. Better luck next time. So this is a small performance of it. Again, I can't do the patter react with the spectator because there's no one here, but you get an idea of what this is. A full performance. This is how clean it plays out every single time. Okay? So now that you know what this is, let's talk about where you get it, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So you can buy this exclusively from ALAKAZAM Magic at the moment. It will set you back £25, which is around 36 Canadian dollars, which is around 30 USD. So you can buy this, of course, as I said, from ALAKAZAM Magic. If you want, there's a discount code down below that's going to get you some savings off of it, especially now with Black Friday. You can get even more savings by using the code down below. And what you get is this. You get this box. And inside of this box, of course, you get your instructional video, which is around 30-40 minutes long. It's not a very long instructional video, and it doesn't have to be. This trick is pretty much self-working. It's super easy. And yeah, you don't need much tutorial. So it's great that this is not a 5-hour tutorial for a trick that could be explained in 20 minutes. Additionally, you also get some stickers. If you've seen other performances of this, I think we all know what this is, right? MO. If you've seen other performances, you know that there's some stickers. And the stickers are, they come in 2 batches. One that are already printed in English. So if you're an English performer, you can just place those on and you're good to go. If, however, you perform in another language, they also provide to you blank stickers, which means that you can write your reveals in any language that you want. So that is provided to you. Additionally, you get, of course, these poker chips, which are extremely well made. They're really sturdy. They look beautiful. They look professional. And then you also get your envelopes, okay? So you get your envelopes with, that are like the typical ALAKAZAM sturdier envelopes. And yeah, that's what you get. On top of that, you will need, the only thing you need to provide is your money. So you will need to provide a 5, a 10, and a 20 bill in order to do this effect. So that's on you. So you're going to have to provide yourself $35, 35 pounds, 35 euros, 35 whatever, as long as you have it in bills to do this effect. Whether it's polymer paper, that's no issue. I have polymer bills, and Canadian bills are extremely plastic to the point that it's even hard to fold them. And I managed to do this routine without a problem and have the bills there and ready to go. So you can do this with any denomination. Now that we've talked about all of that, let's talk about difficulty. So how difficult is this routine to perform? And this routine is super easy to perform. There's basically no sleight of hand. There's nothing. All you need is a good presentation, some good hooks, and a good vocabulary. And what I mean by that is that the convincers are going to depend on the way that you speak and what you say. So choose your words carefully, say exactly what you want so that when you do a callback, the callback is accurate and it depicts exactly word for word what you said, which makes everything more convincing. But apart from that, there's nothing else that you need to know. It is pretty much self-working. In terms of practicality now, let's jump into the practicality section. Is this practical? And the answer is all you need is these 4 envelopes. So everything fits in these 4 envelopes. So you can place them inside of your, if you're going to a gig, inside of a pocket, inside of a jacket pocket, wherever you want. As long as you have the 4 envelopes, you are good to go and you are ready to perform this trick. That is all that you need. Now let's talk about angles. What are the angles of this? The angles for this are pretty much 360. You can get away with performing this pretty cleanly. I think there could be maybe, depending how you hold and how close they are to you, maybe they could maybe see a thing, but it isn't really that big of an issue, if at all. So I would say pretty much you could be confident performing this 360 degrees. Do you need a table for this effect? The answer is preferably, I think this works well if you have a table, but if it doesn't, I mean, you could find the way. If you have maybe 3 spectators, you have an envelope on each of the spectators' hands with the chips, and you have a 4th spectator place it on their hands. You could maybe do it like that, but I do feel that it is better if you have a table to perform this effect. Now let's talk about inspectability. Is this inspectable? And this was designed to be inspectable in every scenario. So in this situation, the heat is on the chips, and the chips fully inspectable. On other occasions, the heat is going to be on a certain object or certain other objects, and all of those objects are going to be fully inspectable, which means that where the heat is fully inspectable, whereas where the non-heat is not inspectable. So I think we all know what I mean by that. We all know how MO works, and Craig Petty was pretty giving in that regard in his videos that he put, that this is an MO, so I think I'm allowed to kind of say that. So yeah, so for example here, this would be inspectable, this would not. But generally people are going to be wanting to inspect the things that are kicking them in the teeth, and that's the chips in this scenario. Go ahead, inspect them. So it is relatively inspectable, but if you want to give the envelopes, the money out, everything, you cannot do that, but that's not an issue. Now let's talk about reset. So how quick is the reset? Well, this is how quick the reset is. I'm gonna reset it in front of you right now. So this is me resetting the entire trick. So what did it take me? It took me maybe what, 2-3 seconds to reset it, and now I'm ready to go to the other table, the trick fully reset. So yeah, the reset is very, very quick as well. So that is proof to you that it is quick. In certain scenarios, it is already reset as you end the routine. So it is very quick of a reset as well. So now that we've known all of this, let's get into where to perform. So where would you perform petty cash? Petty cash would work great in parlor setting. It would work great in something like Zoom or a virtual show, but it also works great in table hopping close-up scenarios. But you do have to be careful in those scenarios that the choices are going to alternate between the people. So not everyone is going to have the same choice, but that you can easily get away with saying, oh, between each performance, I change the choice of the spectator or whatever, right? But if other people look at what you're doing, it may tip the method in their head. So if you do it from table to table, I wouldn't do it table to table that is glued together. I would maybe do it at a table on the right side, a table on the left side, maybe a table at the bottom, a table at the top. To spread it out, I wouldn't do it from table to table close up because it may tip the method if the other table looks around to see what you're doing. So keep in mind in that. But apart from that, this can work stage, parlor, close up, or video. It's going to work well. So now that we know everything that you have to know about petty cash, let's talk about the positives and the negatives. So what are the negatives of petty cash? There's only one negative that could be for some people and another one that I'm just going to throw out there. So the main negative is what I just said, is if you do table hopping restaurant work and you go from table to table and the tables are super close, if you do this effect at every single table and the other table peeks over, they may understand how the effect works. For some people, you don't matter. You already impressed them before. So if they are to look again, it is not your issue. It is not your problem that they're maybe going to find out the method. As long as you entertain the people at the table, that's what you're paid to do. So it may not be a negative for you, but it could be for some people if you get into your head, and I know some people do. That is one thing to keep in mind. And the second negative is, again, something that the routine was designed to fully avoid, but I know some people are always particular about everything being fully inspectable, and people are going to be afraid, but, oh, what if they grab the envelope to put the chip back in themselves or whatever, and they may stress about it. It is not fully inspectable, but the way the routine is designed, no one should ever want to do anything. But I know it is an issue for some, so I'm putting it out there. Now let's talk about the positives. What are the positives? One, the price for this is very good. The props that you get are very good. It is super easy to do. It is really practical. It's a fun routine. It's a fooling routine. It has a bunch of little kickers. It has some comedic points. If you want to accentuate them like Craig Petty, you can make this really funny. If you don't want to accentuate them and maybe make them a bit more serious like I do, then you can do that as well. It's a bit modular. It's also fun that once you have it, you can make your own set. Of course, you're still going to need the poker chips, but you can definitely make your own set with other envelopes if you want them bigger, if you want them smaller, if you want them to have some designs on it, to print some things on the envelope. You can go for that as well. It is up to you. So yeah, there's a lot of good going on for this. So now that we've unpacked everything, would I recommend petty cash and what do I rate it out of 10? Would I recommend petty cash? And my answer is yes. I think this is a super easy bank night routine that goes straight to the point and super easy to do. Other routines of this style have you maybe displace things while you're doing the reveals. They may have you hide certain things. They may require additional gimmicks. They may require sleight of hand. They may require misdirection to get rid of a few things, but this doesn't. This is really to the point. You place the envelopes on the table, you take out the chips, you say, put it on anyone that you want, you're committed, and there you go. It is super, super easy, to the point, and clear. I do recommend it. And what do I rate it out of 10? There are a lot of bank night routines. There are a lot of great routines such as this. There are a ton of MO routines out there, but I do think this one has its place, and I do think that for the price, it is definitely worth a purchase. So I'm going to rate it an 8.5 on 10. It is fun, it is good, and I am going to use it. And that is it for me, and that's all I have to say about petty cash. So as always, make sure to leave a comment down below. I read every single one of your comments, and I answer to the most comments that I can, willing with my time. So feel free to leave down below your opinion, your ideas, whatever you think of this. If not, like and subscribe. We are growing the channel very, very fast in the past few months, so I thank you all for that, and I'll see you all in my next review. Have a great one, and bye.